Seany, the official eyewear for the CDL. Armor your eyes with Seany Blocks blue light protection glasses by visiting seany.com/gaming. Get insurance savings and discounts from USAA, the official insurance partner of the Call of Duty League.
We made USAA insurance for renters who make the most of their space and money. That's why we make it easy to cover the stuff you love for as little as 33 cents a day. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to day one of the Minnesota Røkkr home series presented by USAA Insurance. It is time for our final series of the day. It is your Minnesota Røkkr taking on the Seattle Surge. But first, before we get into that game, we got to take a look at our playoff picture. Obviously, when we discuss these matches, this is what it's all about: where you're seated, who's making it to the top 8, specifically who's making it in toward that top 6 in regards to securing that winner's bracket. Minnesota Røkkr, one of the 3 teams currently in competition for trying to hold on toward those top 6 positions. Instead, LA Thieves, off to an excellent start, have made that race much more tight. I think both these teams currently separated by 10 points. Without a doubt, a major series for the Røkkr.
Yeah, this is a huge series for the Røkkr to just try to get that 6th seed, like you said, man. Only being up by 10 points on the Thieves roster, who looked great in their first week with John. You have to make sure that you're getting these wins. And in this matchup right here versus Seattle, obviously Seattle, they played really well at the Major for getting a top 8 finish there, but so far online, it just hasn't been working for them. At that last series that they had, they ended up dropping that series as well in a 3-1 fashion. And on the opposite side, you know, you have Minnesota, who just played a tough series versus Toronto. So they're looking for a strong bounce back here.
Yeah, without a doubt. Looking for a nice little bounce back. And as we said, they started off the stage well, and they are currently in hunt for their 2nd win of Stage 5. As we said, they got a number of different teams on their heels. LA Thieves, Florida Mutineers, everybody trying to take away that top 6 placement. But we'll see how they can look today. Let's go ahead and meet your home team, the Minnesota Røkkr.
Røkkr certainly come to play.
They can't stop it. They can't stop the kids. They can't stop it.
Oh, Priestahh.
It's Standy! Cuts them all down. What was that?
Bang! MajorManiak, 200 IQ, 10 out of 10 play. Oh my word! But Dashy's going to save the day. Røkkr are kings of the north.
Tons of eyes on this Minnesota Røkkr team, not just because it's their home series, but like we said, because of that race for top 6. So I think it was Nameless at the top of the show said that, hey, this team potentially has the most to lose this week, as obviously they'll be facing off here in just a few moments against Seattle, and they have a big game on Sunday versus the Empire.
Yeah, it's a huge game on Sunday versus the Empire, but you want to focus on the match at hand right here today. You just want to make sure you're taking it one match at a time. And for me, Minnesota, they've shown that they've gotten a lot better in their hard point as they were able to take that first one versus Toronto. The only thing that scares me for this team is that back in the day, their go-to game mode was that search and destroy. And I feel like if they can get their search and destroy right back up on form, then they will be considered one of those top 4, at least top side of the teams for the Minnesota Røkkr, because when you watch them in search and destroy, it's just a lot of individual plays. Standy's always left in the clutch. Someone's always trying to clutch up for that team, and it's just not the way you guys want to play it. You need to find a little bit more ground, or at least a little bit more consistency in that game mode, so you can start fighting a little bit better versus these top teams.
Yeah, and also too, it feels like, you know, teams who have been kind of at the top of the top, your Atlanta FaZe, your Toronto Ultra, you know, even Dallas Empire, whatever you want to label, a majority of the time, S&D has been kind of that mode that those teams have been able to rely on. It's not necessarily always been the hardpoint or the control. It's been S&D that has been more of the consistent barometer for how some of our top teams elevate their game. And one team who's looking to really improve in that search and destroy category, it's no longer control. Now it is search and destroy. Let's go ahead and meet the roster that sits on the other side, your Seattle Surge. Fire coming in, but can Prestinni win this too? No. He does. That's 3 straight. Dashy versus Octane, and it's Sam who's able to come away with it.
On a classic, trying to line him up, in the final.
Looking to find a few more, but Gunless
Absolutely rips his way through the 3 of them.
249, Seattle, wow! And there you have it, your Seattle Surge stud. It feels like after the loss that they suffered versus the Mutineers last week that, I don't know, some wind kind of taken out of their sails, given how great that this team looked at the Major.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of wind taken out their sails, man. They lost 2 hard points there. They also lost the Search and Destroy. They've just improved in control. And that's crazy because Seattle, they were the worst team that we had in that game mode. So the fact that they are winning those consistently, that just shows that they showed improvement there. Just the other 2 have fell off. But let's hop right into our keys to victory for the Seattle Surge. Control has seen improvements, but S&D has taken a huge dip. 2-10 in their last 12. That was a little error there. It's all good. But 2-10 in their last 12 Search and Destroys. Not really good, man. Classic also needs to have a good bounce back series. -34 versus Florida, especially in the hard points. I'm pretty sure on both hard points, he's putting them like a 0.5 combined. Like, that is terrible. Classic needs to come out and play today. And then for the ARs, Octane and Gunless need to take over today. They'll be in a great position if they can dominate the Røkkr duo on the other side, man. And when you talk about this team, at least when you go back to that Major, Octane and Gunless were taking over. Like, Octane was putting up a 1.7 in the 2 series that he played. And then Gunless right there, he was keeping up that consistent work as well. So if you get those 2 AR players to play well, especially on the maps that we have, I feel like they have a good shot to take it. The only thing is, if those SMG players can really step up, because Classic, 0.5 and hardpoint, you need to flip that switch and help out your man Octane in some of these gunfights.
As it feels with the Seattle Surge roster, not just last season, but this season, still in search for that overall team consistently. Can the ARs, can the SMGs match that same level of play together? We will find out. Now, our game field keys to victory here for the Minnesota Røkkr. First thing, Standy needs to take over versus the Surge SMG. So far throughout Stage 5 poses a 1.18 KD, and historically versus the Surge has been quite good, a 1.27 versus this Seattle team. And also need to get back in form in the Search and Destroy. As you talked about it at the top, stud, this mode can elevate this team to being a top roster. Then finally, Control very well could define how this series plays out. They need another great performance in this particular game mode, and historically versus the Surge, they have taken control each time that they have played it. So as we said, both teams in search for consistency. I think it's fair to say Seattle in more of a desperate need in that case. But for Minnesota Røkkr, I feel like the story around this team, stud, has been on that man Standy. He has been so good for this roster. As we said, a 1.18 in their first 2 series, and hopes to lead Minnesota to their 2nd win of Stage 5.
Yeah, man, ever since Standy has entered the Røkkr building, he's been the man. Like, the guy's just been putting up some insane stats, like a 1.18 overall in hardpoint. The guy's just absolutely insane. But when you take a look at our quick scopes here, obviously, Minnesota, they're a little bit more favorite in Search and Destroy, a little bit more favorite in that control as well. But the good thing is, for Seattle, they're a little bit better at hardpoint. So this can be great, especially on this map number 1, because we saw a lot of success, at least at that Major 4 on land, for Octane on this map, because he was really taking over, man, on a map like Checkmate, which allows those ARs to just set up, hitting themselves and pre-aim down the lane of sight and get those easy kills. So I'm excited for that Checkmate map, because we saw Minnesota as well play it against LAG. They dominated them. This is a map that they used to auto veto. So the fact that they're putting it in this series shows that they're starting to get a lot more confident on it as they continue to practice it.
Yeah, and I know that you mentioned, obviously, when we talk about our keys to victory, we specifically do look at that AR duo, both Octane and Gunless there for the Seattle Surge, what kind of damage they can do. And as you said, at that Major, this is a map where Octane took over. This is a map where Gunless really started to feel comfortable. As we said, Røkkr, great historically in terms of their most recent series. Granted, it is versus the LA Guerrillas, and it seems like a lot of people have the ability to 60-point, 70-point club them, but they have some good reps on it as of late. But here we go, folks. Our first map of what very well could be a classic type of series. No pun intended, we love Nicky D, but Minnesota Røkkr versus the Seattle Surge. Checkmate hardpoint is where we find ourselves first. And oh boy, it is going to be a fun one. As we said, heading toward Checkmate, and I know we talked a lot about Standy coming in toward this series, stud, just granted how great he's been for Minnesota, how great he has been in this stage, and he also poses a 1.1 on Checkmate hardpoint throughout this year.
Yeah, so he needs to have another big game. And the good thing about it is that even though his teammates are starting off on the bad side, they're picking up a couple kills in towards this P1. That's going to be 3 players early down on the side of the Surge. So now they have to try to break in, and Minnesota is going to be able to get some good time off of this P1 uncontested. You're going to see a couple players from the Surge trying to slow it down a little bit, but so far Minnesota are doing a great job at just picking up these kills. Yet the spawns still haven't came in the flip, but they're doing such a great job at this P1, collecting all this time. It's a great job for Minnesota so far.
Great job with those SMGs toward top lane. Prestinni wanting to have the final word on this and very well could earn that. Fortunately for him, no time potentially going to be awarded for his efforts as the Seattle Surge continue to look good toward the middle side of the map. Just as I say that though, Priestahh winning a major fight toward that A lane. With Minnesota getting, what, 50 seconds uncontested at P1, you could not ask for much more than that, as now that puts all the pressure on a Surge to hold down this money hill at P2.
Yeah, and Prestinni, he's doing such a great job, man. He was able to find 3 kills towards the ending half of that P1, which kept the spawns for his teammates, and currently working on a streak. Unfortunately, he's going to drop, not being able to pick up any streaks right there, but Seattle keeping the pressure on. Unfortunately, Octane's trophy is going to betray him, and he's going to drop it now, spawn all the way across the map. The last player in this position is going to be Gunless. They're going to sniff him out, and Minnesota get a clean break.
Yeah, instead, I mean, that is just a wonderful break there from the Røkkr. As we said, just based off the way that you play instead of P1, you can't afford, if you're the Surge, to allow for that hill to go away empty-handed. An excellent start toward this HP, the best way possible if you are a Minnesota fan. Final 10 seconds going down, and you can bet it looks good to go the way of Røkkr, but Gunless once more putting in the back of our minds that this Seattle team is not going to go down without a fight. Currently sits on that 3 spree, as now we head in toward bottom plane, and this could be potentially where Big P starts to take on off. Surge for a moment. Get a toe in. Classic trying to get some top lane control. A big 1v1 for him as Prestinni continues to snap.
Yeah, they're doing a great job of just finding these kills around the hill. Just no one's in the point yet, so they're not getting any more time. Eventually someone's going to get in. That's going to be a clean 4 dead on the side of the Surge. So now they're going to be able to get fully set up for this P3. They know all the spawns are coming in from back yellow. So far, they're doing a great job at just holding them in this position. Just keep in mind, look at that mini-map. Number 2 in attach. He's actually going to spawn behind these players at wood. He's able to pick up that kill onto Gunless. So now that's going to turn the focus of Octane, knowing that he has to try to pick up this kill to not allow the spawns to flip. But already a job well done from Minnesota, as the spawns are going to be flipped, and now they should be fully set up for that P4 hard point.
Yeah, I mean, what? Obviously, Attach gets a great opportunity and seizes it. The big gunfight goes down there onto Octane, and from there, the Røkkr have put themselves in good map positioning. But let's go and step aside and see how the comms sound. Our Astro listening now with Minnesota.
Side, guys. Classic. One shot our side. Yeah. I'm going top lane.
I'm looking at our side. I'm low playing right now. One's under A wing. Hopping up A wing. Hop to A wing. I can hold our side.
I'll leave A wing.
I'm going up A wing. I'm going up A wing. Our side, Nick. Our side, Nick.
He's close up. Nick then. A wing. Prestinni dead.
Nice. Help me. Our side. Octane hurt. Octane dead. Hurry. Left hill. Left hill. Block. I'm blocking.
Actually, I'm getting dark spot.
Yeah. I'm gonna get top lane.
They
be
open in tube. I think
they're hurt. I'm top lane.
A long classic 1 shot hill.
Tube hurt.
Shot the guy hill.
1
shot close right.
I got him. Dead. Nice. Play. I'm 1 shot.
I'll
help. I'll drop down. He's 1 shot behind you.
Chase you dead.
I can get initial.
I have a
initial. I'll play top lane. Make sure you block, eLLeY. I have a trophy new.
On either side long.
Open. Shit on. Oh my god.
Nice.
One's going exit, I think.
Yo, he's top A wing, hopping up.
Listen,
I'm saying push up. Someone block.
I can't block. Wait, one of my spawn behind us. Block. We're good.
Yo,
2 open and 1 shot. I'm top lane.
2 and 1 shot. They're deep. I'll get a shot.
1 shot top lane. He's gonna go top.
I'm wrapping long.
Yeah. Look at exit. Our exit. I got trophy. I got my front. Look, my front.
Yeah, I can.
I'm in front.
Alright,
Left dead. I have cross eLLeY. Stay down.
Yeah, he's back across on me.
Exit. I don't have your cross yet. Another one. I needed it. Exit.
Exit, dead.
Nice. Yeah.
Yellow crate. Prestinni.
Yo, there's 3 attacks.
I'm helping you.
I'm going top lane.
Yo, we can try to work on
Lobby wing.
Okay,
I hear you. I'm picking up deep left. I'm picking up deep left.
trophy. Don't for top lane. There's gonna be multiple top lane.
Left.
Lobby wing. I'm 1 shot.
Plane, Pierce. He's weak.
Lobby
wing. He's on the pallet.
Alright, we're coming together here. Take your time.
He's still low.
Left.
Low on top.
I'm flashing over.
Top lead. Hold my cam.
I'm looking over you.
He still steps.
I don't see him top B-wing. I'm trying to help you last
one.
one.
I'm looking at stairs.
Nice.
I'll look at top B-wing. I'll look at top. Top B-wing, dead. Let's go, dude.
Nice. I'm coming home.
I'll get your left.
No, behind me. He's exit. He's in exit corner.
Exit 1 shot.
Minnesota Røkkr really starting to get into form. I mean, really just looked absolutely phenomenal toward the end of that P4 and P5 stud.
Yeah, when you went into that listening right there, you could just tell their main focus was to not allow any players from the Seattle Surge side to spawn behind them. You heard Attach, you heard Standy, you even heard MajorManiak. Anybody blocking in the back? Nope. Okay, well, let's just hope that they don't spawn back there. Once their teammate dropped and spawned back there, they had the full setup that they wanted. They held down that P5 for the entire time. In Minnesota, they are just really clicking right now in hardpoint. I haven't seen this much teamwork out of Minnesota so far, at least on this snap, man. But they are just keeping the fundamentals in their back pocket, doing a great job at just picking up the kills and holding the spawns properly. Minnesota about to open up to a 100-point lead nice and early into this map.
Yeah, you can already feel the momentum beginning to shift toward the Røkkr as Classic and the Surge Boys look to try to do as much damage mitigation as they can. But the SMGs continue to fire, as that's going to be 4 in a row for MajorManiak. Octane toward the back. See if Major does in fact spot him out. And with that flash, information is gained. Classic's able to win the 1 versus 1. But take a look at Standy in a great spot. He gets found out. And for a moment, Seattle Surge, they get some time to breathe. And what feels like for the first time in a long time, Stud, they get a hill that's uncontested for a moment. Just as we say that, Priestahh is there to cause some issues. And now it's Standy's turn toward the flank. 20 valuable seconds still left up for grabs, and Prestinni's doing everything he can to try to keep this one as close as possible. And it will be the Surge having, for the first time in this game, a successful P2 hold, and boy, did they need that.
Yeah, they definitely needed that response right there, even though it was kind of funky from both teams right there. Kills going back and forth, but Seattle did a good job at just picking up a majority of those, keeping those spawns, and then eventually gaining the remaining time on that hard point. Now they're right back into this. Only down 45 points. You have to try to break into this P3 hard point nice and early. They're getting the spawns for P4, but there's so much pressure, so much map control on the side of Minnesota Røkkr right now. It's going to force a couple players from Seattle Surge to try to challenge a couple gunfights that are not really in their favor, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Is another 3 players go down. They still have those back spawns, but this has been a great hold so far for Minnesota on this P3.
Yeah, great job, as you mentioned, for Minnesota. Really throughout the middle side of the map. They've looked great at P1. They've looked pretty solid at P3 as well, and based off of that, that is the reason why the score indicates what it does. 18 seconds left toward bottom plane. Then the rotation will be in toward a street, but is it really going to even matter all that much as Priestahh, MajorManiak? It was the SMGs for a time, now it's the ARs going off. 230 to 141. Less than 20 seconds left before this game 1 comes to a close, and Standy, they end this one out in somewhat of an explosive way, turning on to Prestinni to earn that second streak. It's going to be an artillery, and it's going to be a cruise. Is it even going to come into play all that much? Probably not. But with 2 seconds left, it is fireworks here on Checkmate. 1 more point left before this one comes to a close. A big fight to win there from Gunless, but as we mentioned, it's all consolation at this moment, as the crews will look to try to rein on in. Minnesota looking for that final second, and that very well could do it. Props to Seattle for doing what they've done. Attach, they're gonna get the assistance, and there we have it. Røkkr answer big in the opener.
And that was just such a great job for Minnesota. I think the turning point of the game, though, had to be that first P5 hard point, because Minnesota did such a great job, man. They broke into that P4 with about 20 seconds left. They secured those spawns and then held that P5 for the entire 60, and that was the turning point of this game, because then eventually they did such a great job at that P1 on the first go around that on the second go around they were able to at least gain 30 seconds off of that. Even though Seattle were able to bounce back off of that P2, I feel like just the amount of time they got off of that P1 and the full 60 hold on P5 is what allowed Minnesota to walk away with this one. They were just dominating, man, keeping the spawns, keeping control of the map, and just maneuvering as a team. Great teamwork from Minnesota in that map number 1.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a great team victory as well. Like, that wasn't just because, you know, let's say it was versus the Seattle Surge. I mean, so like that was clinical. We talked about, you know, throughout the amount of hills that they were able to control, breaking in toward P2, holding well the middle side of the map. The amount of 3-4 players down that they got, that's not just you know, maybe a more bottom of the barrel type of team problem. That is a great win for this Røkkr team. And but as we said, they're looking for that game mode to coincide with the control. Our point very well may be that.
Yeah, well, their hard point is definitely looking good, man. When they go up against the top teams, they're able to fight at least on the first map. When you get deeper into the series is when they tend to struggle, man. But that's a good answer from Røkkr right there. Now they have to show us strength in Search and Destroy. They're going up against a weak team in the game mode in Seattle Surge. Like we said in the keys to victory, 2-10 out of the last 12. They need to come out and win the Search and Destroy to put them up 2-0.
Yeah, I know Nameless is sitting there saying, okay, Minnesota, we saw you in game 1. Let's see how you do throughout the remainder of the series. It is Search and Destroy on Standoff when we come back.
Grind for the hustle, I can't knock it. Do what it take, do what you do, you could try. I've been up, I've been stuck up in the sky. Only at the top, I can't lie. Haters watch it, throw the piece, tell them bye, 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 bye. I got things to do, I got bands to get. Competition up in smoke, ooh, cannabis. Ask me why I'm a top 10 candidate. I'm so fly, I'm so clean, ooh, and I'm rich. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. Check the scoreboard, I'm running up stats. Numbers don't lie, that's facts. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. Check the numbers, I'm running it up. I got penny bands, I'm thumbing it, yeah. Tell them move, get up out the way. It's ludicrous, yeah, how much I'm getting paid. 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10K. No mob ties, but a player being made. Now how you spoke to your girl, better check her phone. And do you know what she doing when you not at home? And when she tell you she alone, but she not alone. She got a lot of options, eeny, miny, mo. She gon' do what she want, ain't no stopping it all. Pour the liquor in the cup, yeah, I'm topping it off. I might take your girl, take a trip to the mall. Put the shelf in the bag, yeah, cause I'm copping it all. I'm saying, they can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. Check the scoreboard, I'm running up stats. Numbers don't lie, that's facts. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. They can't stop it.
Seany, the official eyewear for the CDL. Armor your eyes with Seany Blocks blue light protection glasses by visiting seany.com/gaming. Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. Call of Duty League is brought to you by T-Mobile. T-Mobile is the shot caller in 5G. Lead the game from the lobby to the last push with America's largest, fastest, and now most reliable 5G network.
My name's Eli Benz, aka Standy, and I'm a professional Call of Duty player for the Minnesota Røkkr. My experience as a CDL rookie has been phenomenal. I think it's really fun to play against players that I used to look up to.
Mack goes down as well.
My reaction to getting picked up to the Minnesota Røkkr, I was ecstatic. Some things that I've learned from my Røkkr teammates are a lot of intangibles, stuff like making the right play at the right time and being focused in like super stressful clutch situations.
Standy clutches it.
My duo is Attach. He's really nice and he came off as a great teammate. A goal that I have for my rookie year is obviously do my best to try to win the Rookie of the Year award. Stay excited for the future because great things are on the way.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Minnesota Røkkr home series. You get to learn a little bit more information about the Stand man. As we mentioned, he is desperately looking to try and get a little bit more elevated, I guess you could say, in that Rookie of the Year conversation. We talked about that at the top of the show, but Stud, walk me through it again, man. How impressive has Standy been here for Minnesota?
I'm telling you, man, ever since this guy has entered this roster, he's been the spark that they were looking for. A guy that consistently can throw up top numbers in every single game mode. You see him overall, he's going to be sitting at 9th. Hard point at a 1.06, S&D a little bit better, control a little bit less, but just overall over 1.0 KD, man, and that's just consistency across the board. Out of such a young player, you usually don't see that when you're playing against players that you probably looked up to at least to get to this position. Like, if you're Standy back in in 2013, you're sitting there watching players like myself, players like Scump, players like all these guys, all these veterans. So the fact that you're on this stage and you're putting up the performance you are in your rookie year, man, you gotta tip the hat to you, man, because you have been preparing yourself for this moment, and he's definitely been showing up for this team so far.
Yeah, he absolutely has. And one kind of interesting soundbite that I earned from that content piece, Stud, was Standy went on to say that he's learned a lot of intangibles throughout his rookie season in his spurt so far with Minnesota. He's learned things like, better timing, being more focused in the clutch. And I want to ask you, whenever you are a rookie, what are some of the most important things that you do need to learn in your first season of play?
So I remember back in the day, man, when I was first entering the league, and thank God I had the best coach in the world in Rambo Ray,
right,
who was telling me how to play the game. So whenever I would make a mistake, I'd always argue with him. I remember me and Ray actually almost got into a fight once when we were living together in North Carolina at the MV house. And it was just because I decided to make a play as an aggressive player that I am, but he broke it down to me that there's 90 different outcomes of how this play can possibly play out. And you always want to get the one that statistically puts your team in the advantage every single time. So I'm happy that he was able to realize that, because there's certain situations when you're a rookie, you come in and you think that you can just do it all. But there's a level of play here that you can consistently do it as the right team. And Standy has finally found his footing there, just doing what he needs to do for this team to pick up some W's.
And great awareness from him so far. I actually had the chance one Stud to talk to Ray. He told me, he's like, yeah, when I team with Stud, it was an interesting time. It was an interesting affair. Like you said, punches may have been nearly thrown at one point, but as we said, so important to be surrounded by such great players as Priestahh will look to put in the defuse. Nobody here from Surge, rather specifically Gunless, in a position to check on what was a very, very valuable piece of cargo, as the Røkkr will be able to fire that one in and grab our first round. But as you said, man, just so important to be surrounded, by the right players. I know you mentioned you used an interesting choice of words. Like, I was so blessed to be joined alongside a player like Rambo Ray. And I know for Standy, like we said, he's surrounded by some excellent, excellent veterans of the scene. We talk about MajorManiak, Attach, Priestahh, guys who have played on the biggest of stages. Couldn't ask for a better supporting cast.
You definitely can't, man. And just going back to that round number one, that was faster than the flash, man. There was a good play from Standy on hitting that back alley, setting up that pinch, and then just Minnesota being so aggressive towards that bomb site. Even though Gunless was the last player up, they just had too many bodies on the map to work that defuse. So now Minnesota up 1-0 are going to be on the attack. Octane is going to be sitting around this deli area, trying to watch that cross towards that A bomb. Prestinni's also going to be doing the same exact thing. It's all about the timing here, though. You have to pay attention to number 7 in Classic. When does he decide to hit this flank, or is he just going to continuously throw shoulders and just allow Minnesota to try to make this play over towards A?
Being in such a great position, and maybe walk away with that first kill. MajorManiak using the statue to good usage, and that will set up Priestahh to get that first blood. Again, it was a very difficult start, and now to the picket fence. Gunless is able to provide a few shots there into P-Dog, but he's still alive. He's still barking, and very well. Could get that down very shortly. Seany holding the angle, takes down the turret, and that will now put Røkkr in a 2-man advantage. Gunless position is known. Classic gets wiped away, and Standy very well could find the final one as well. Gunless once more gets dropped in a 1vx situation. Clinical plays from Minnesota and great coordination the middle side of the map to get that first blood.
Yeah, that was a great play by Minnesota right there. If you didn't realize that Priestahh was that player who was camping towards the back of that loading docks outside of that deli window. He jumped on top of those boxes there and was just calling out everything towards the middle of the map. They spotted Octane in towards deli. They put down a couple shots on him to back him down from that position and then soloed out Prestinni. So that was just such a great job from Minnesota on picking up that early first blood and then eventually using their man advantage to put the aggression on towards A, work that bomb plant, and then Standy picking up with some great shots across the map with that AK-74U through that courtyard to now put themselves up 2-0, back on the defense. The pressure is going to be coming in from back alley. Attach is going to have his hands full, but he's just going to try to back down, play a little safer until number 1 in MajorManiak is here to help him.
It was the Surge off the start, grouping up, one of the SMGs together, and looking for some team shots there with the ARs. Unfortunately for the Surge, the hopes of finding the first blood to start off this round does not go their way. Classic does get a bit of information, tagged up to 42, has to back up because of the nade. Well, some lead has been shed, some blood has hit the pavement. No first kills coming in as of yet, as the Surge look to make the rotation now over at A. Problem being, though, is Standy is still here.
Yeah, so eventually they have to get towards this bomb. And with 25 seconds left, they're able to at least spot Standy. It's all about the timing on when do they decide to attack this, and that's going to be classic with the early first blood. Too bad the answer is going to be here from MajorManiak and Priestahh. Major finds 2, Priestahh finds the second, and then Attach finds the third all the way across the map. Right there was just way too slow for the Surge. You allowed them to just fully set up on one bomb site, knowing that they'd shut down that back alley push. So they 3-stack it, they win a majority of these trades, and eventually are able to close out the round. Right now, Minnesota, we talked about it before the series started. They needed to show improvements in search and destroy, at least in their teamwork. And right now, it's looking good, man. Up 3-0 so far.
And just great work there with the AR shots. We thought at the start of the round there for the Surge, they were trying to get some team shots in. It's actually Minnesota toward the closeout of the round, in which team shots are the ending conversation. Røkkr now back on attack. Prestinni yet to find a kill, and what a time it would be for it. MajorManiak, all the smarter, tries to go from the bottom to the top. Prestinni's able to take him down, and that will be a good start here for Seattle. Aware of the backside push. Priestahh looks to back on up. Tries to play it close, ends up getting pegged down. Now it all comes down to Attach. A 1 versus 3, and he will get dropped. Surge finally getting a round on the board, and it needed to come in at that moment. And Seth, I want to ask you, too, what has been your take on this Seattle team in this S&D mode? Because as we said, for a long time it was, when are they going to win a control? When is it finally going to happen? When's it going to be in a map that isn't Garrison? Now they've improved in control, and now the conversation is in toward the search and destroys. As we said, 2 and 10 in their last 12. What's been the primary culprit that you've been able to see?
When I'm watching the Surge play, at least so far in this map, I think it's just the early first blood percentages. I think players are taking too much risk, at least in the beginning, because if you go back to that defensive round where Octane was watching over Prestinni, they get him out of that position. Prestinni's basically with his hands up. He's going to be a free kill. So they have to try to work on their setups. They were able to win that round there, but just a little bit more teamwork. I would like to see Prestinni, instead of doing the solo island plays by himself, I would like to see him and Classic work a little bit more well together and try to play these trades a little bit more effectively, at least with their aggression.
You've heard the call. We'll see if they do make the necessary adjustments. And MajorManiak toward this top side. He has been teaching the CDL this move since Standoff entered into the rotation and now sits at 6-1. Classic through the hedges. Looks to try to make Major pay. But he will stay alive, and that's all that you can ask for out of your player that walks away with the first blood, and to also stay alive. Not get much better than that. And Octane on top of the roof, the body comes tumbling down, and now sits next, both Classic and Gunless, with not really too much comms to utter. It is a lonely territory, the backside of the spawn here for Surge. No real information to work off of. You got 2 players split. Gunless is trying to get a little bit of information, but Røkkr playing all the patient.
Yeah, they know it's a 4v2. They have to eventually work this bomb plant. They solo out Classic right there. Now it's left up to Gunless in a 1v4. He's going to get taken down, and Minnesota are going to put themselves up 4-1. And that's another round right there where Minnesota, they find that first blood. Once they find that first blood, they're all not going to change their positioning. They know that they have the man advantage. Eventually, you have to work a bomb plant, or at least try to find a kill to at least even up the numbers, but that's just something that they're not allowing to happen. They're putting themselves in the advantage, making the gunfights a lot more difficult on the side of the Surge side to even up those numbers, and they're just dominating these rounds right now with their teamwork. Minnesota up 4-1, back on the offense. Priestahh on the 3-speed, trying to work towards some streaks. He's going to be the guy that's giving the comms, throws his tactics over to A. Obviously, he's going to know it's going to be a trophy system there, but eventually you're going to see him jump up on these boxes and try to fight for some mid-map control.
As you've labeled it, that first blood, so important, not just in general, but specifically for the Surge. That has been their primary area of struggle. Octane not having a great start either, 1-4. Generally, whenever you sit at 4-1, you don't expect anybody to be having the greatest of performances, but another first blood, this time toward Priestahh. You couldn't have said it better, Stud, but thankfully, Prestinni is able to answer. Prestinni taking down Priestahh. A bit of a mouthful, but now into the 3 versus 3. Classic on a flank. SMG's battling on both sides of the map, but it's Standy winning his. Classic on the other side. And now it's into the 2 versus 2. Octane and Classic versus Attach and Standy. Octane needing some support. Classic is there to help him. Now it comes down to the 1v1. Standy with the bomb. Classic left to try and defend. It is a rookie versus a veteran. Standy may get the clearance to plant this. Classic is going to have awareness saying, hey, A, clear. Does he get the nice angle? He does. A few extra shots, but Classic is able to land it. A big one there for Nicky D, as this time it's the veterans winning out and now putting their second round on the board.
Such a big round right there from Classic because he was that island player. Even after his teammates got first blooded, he put himself in a position to push up that back alley and get control of gas. And then eventually, as the pressure started approaching towards that A bomb site, he hits that flank, finds that first kill onto MajorManiak, and then backs up through his back alley to find that kill onto Attach, and then just plays the 1v1 beautifully. Checks that A bomb, knows that he's not going to be in that position, and then just puts himself in a position to at least eliminate him or at least see where he goes from that B bomb site. And was able to clutch up the round for his team to keep them alive in this game. Now back on the offense for the Surge. Looking like it's going to be an aggressive back alley push. Attach is going to realize that, pick up all that information, and here goes MajorManiak already for the help.
MajorManiak is already here. Takes down Classic. That's a nice way to start off. Begin the first blood conversation. Only continues to rally. Gunless getting pegged up. Fights toward the bottom side of Grandma's. And Gunless will actually take down Prestinni and pay for it in the end. An unfortunate sequence of events for the closeout of round number 7. And that has got to hurt, Stud. As we said, like there was a major 2 versus 2 fight. You're trying to set up your teammate, but a teammate comes in, and now that puts Minnesota on map point. A rough round to have, considering the start of this one was not so favorable in the end. Maybe looking much more bleak than the start.
Yeah, they had the pressure on that back alley. It's just, I guess Gunless's left thumb must have slipped on the stick right there and accidentally stuck the nade to the wall. So the team kill comes in. But now back on the attack for Minnesota. They're going to eliminate Prestinni out of that position from that back tractor. So they're being a little bit more aggressive towards this A site. But MajorManiak with stature control. Able to pay attention to any players trying to push out from Delhi. Prestinni with the early first blood. I'm pretty sure that's the first blood of the game for the Seattle Surge. Prestinni with 2. So on the 4v2 situation, Seattle should be able to close this out, but Attach is able to at least take down 1 to make it a 2v3 situation.
Into the fight versus Octane, and Attach is able to win that one as well. From a 4v2 now to a 2 versus 2. And take a look at how close MajorManiak and Prestinni are. Literally right next to each other. And Attach is going to take down Gunless. Prestinni winning the 1 versus 1 against MajorManiak. And it is once more another 1v1. Prestinni versus Attach. Bomb still has to be grabbed. Attach will look to harness that one. Prestinni does fire away from top wood. Aware of his position and does not want to give him too much room to move. Has the Krieg out, but he didn't challenge. That was such awkward timing there from Prestinni. Looking to lay down the fire. Attach utilizing the tractor toward his advantage. So much strategy, so much awareness. Both of these players Attach decide to challenge what could have been the ace, what could have been the 2 versus 4 clutch. Goes back to Prestinni, despite what is now just the 3rd round finally on the board for Surge. Prestinni having such a major impact in these rounds, doing it off the start and doing it in the close. 1v1s continue to favor Seattle.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Prestinni right there was able to pick up the ace on that round. Just a great play from Prestinni. Early aggression over there towards that A bomb site. Able to find 2. Then a huge 1-on-1 versus MajorManiak to force it into that 1v1. Takes his time though, because if you're Attached, I'm expecting a lot of shoulders. Like not a consistent challenge, but he decides to fly out, tries to catch Prestinni off guard. Too bad he was ready for it and is able to win the round for his teammates. So now Prestinni working towards some streaks, and if he's able to pick those up, they can get right back into this game. The early aggression is going to come in towards this A point. Standy's going to be in a great position to at least slow this down. This Classic is going to jump on the hay barrel. MajorManiak's going to pop the first blood. Standy with the second. So immediately, as I thought it was going to be a great play from the Surge, Minnesota answer. Now in a 4v2 situation is Minnesota.
Thankfully, Gunless answers back, but he's greeted with a few nades. Also a flash. Standy from the flank, literally perfect execution if you are Minnesota. Tacticals, lethals, everything in the bag being tossed out. Now it all comes down to Prestinni once more, and the Røkkr is there to seal the deal. Minnesota, for a moment, it got a little bit scary. We saw some good signs of life there from the Surge, winning a few 1v1s, but just the coordination at times, stud, throughout this standoff S&D was nothing short of impressive. Once again, much like the hard point, another great team victory here from Minnesota as they go up 2-0.
Yeah, and that was a clean search and destroy, man. The only thing is, well, at least before that map even started, both teams have yet to find a win on that. Minnesota was sitting at 0-2, Seattle at 0-1. But Minnesota, you could just tell they put some work in. Yeah. Their search and destroy looked really clean in that game. A lot of first bloods on that map, taking advantage of what the map was given to them. Like right there, we saw, even though Gunless picked up that kill onto one player in towards Delhi, they immediately push him out and go for the trade. They know that they have the man advantage. They're playing the numbers correctly, and they're just walking on top on these rounds. And Minnesota, at least based off that map, their S&D has definitely shown improvement just based off of that teamwork that they've shown there.
Yeah, and you notice from the ARs just not having the greatest of performances. What, that's a 4-16 combined for both Octane and Gunless. We came into this talking about the ARs. They have the ability to really cause some problems. I know that was a majority of that was going to be in the respawns, but just not able to fire away. And as you said, the first bloods, the coordination from Minnesota just is going to win out here. Now we got to take a look at our U.S. Army tactical play. This one comes in what I believe round number 2. The guy that we've been talking about coming into the series, the guy we've talked about throughout the series. It is the Røkkr. It's the Standman stud.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this is the round where they eventually get this bomb plant over towards A, and Standy's going to be that player in towards Courtyard. So right there, that's when they back down Octane from Delhi. So they soloed out Prestinni. So they opened up with the first blood, and this is just great awareness right here from Priestahh to just jump up, gain that information for his team, and then eventually force the players from the Surge to give up this bomb site. They worked the bomb plant eventually, but just keep in mind in the positioning out of Standy. He's still sitting mid-court. Some great shots onto Octane, able to take down that player. Now it's a 4v2. Classic jump right into his pre-aim. It's an easy kill for Standy. The guy's not missing right now. Now it's a 4v1. They play their numbers correctly. They properly challenge out Gunless, and that was just such a clean round from Minnesota. Their S&D has definitely shown improvements. That's why they're up 2-0 in this series.
Yeah, and like we said, coming into that map, we talked about Standy in that content piece. Said, hey, in these clutch situations, timings, that is what I've learned, and that is what sets the pace for Minnesota. Surge have yet to catch up. It is 2-0. Will we have another sweep, or can Seattle answer back in the control? It's time for Garrison when we come back.
Seany, the official eyewear for the CDL. Armor your eyes with Seany Blocks blue light protection glasses by visiting seany.com/gaming. Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. Call of Duty League is brought to you by T-Mobile. T-Mobile is the shot caller in 5G. Lead the game from the lobby to the last push with America's largest, fastest, and now most reliable 5G network.
Today is the day we've eagerly been waiting for. In March, we welcome Seany as the official eyewear of the Call of Duty League, and today we get to share that official League eyewear collection has in fact dropped. Every pair of Seany's Call of Duty League eyewear is available with Seany's Blocks Lenses technology, which armors your eyes against blue light. Head to Seany.com/CDL to choose from all 12 team branded collections and get your signature Call of Duty League brands. I've not been lucky enough to sport the specs, but what I've heard is that they are absolutely phenomenal. Miles, Lonnie, Merc, they've all talked about it, and I cannot wait to eventually get my hands on those as well. And speaking of sight, let's not go ahead and focus our attention, Stud, now toward the Minnesota Røkkr. And we got to have this conversation now coming into playoffs, coming in rather toward the major, and then also at playoffs toward the end of the year. Let's talk about Minnesota and how that they have played rather against teams that currently sit above them in regards to record. I mean, what, 0-6 versus FaZe and Ultra combined? What do you make of these?
Obviously the FaZe one is going to be really difficult. They're the best team in the game, and then Ultra right underneath FaZe. It's going to be a difficult task going up against those guys because they're just so well rounded. But then looking at the Empire, the New York, the OpTics, like Minnesota, when they first picked up Standy, I remember that they were able to take down OpTic. Right. They were able to take down Empire, but then they find themselves at even, and then they struggle with versus the top teams. Obviously their hardpoint game has been okay. Their control game has been what has been pushing them through a lot of series. It just comes down to the search and destroy. They haven't really found their footing there, but just a good taste, at least off of that last map on Standoff, that their teamwork is definitely starting to improve. So hopefully when they go up against another top dog, it's not going to be such a blowout, because if they can continue their teamwork, at least in the search and destroy, early first bloods in that game mode, I feel like they will be able to at least challenge a couple of these top teams now.
Yeah, and I know we came into this series, you know, you and I, we talk over it, we look at the maps, and we're like, okay, we got checkmate hardpoint for the first one, standoff S&D. If Seattle can win that first hardpoint, you know, that can really change up how this one could go, because of course you and I both, you know, kind of thought the S&D potentially should go the way of Minnesota, considering you know, Surge's lack of S&D prowess in their last few games. They don't lose, rather they don't win the hardpoint, and this could have been the game mode previously that we said, okay, this is where Surge can get the edge. Both of these teams, like we said, have been great at control, and I believe also, Stud, this has been Seattle's controlled map, despite what has not been a great year for them recently, and I guess you could say whenever they were winning a few controls, it was on this very map. Have Surge shown you enough? Do you expect them to be able to make this one close? If not, send us to a game 4.
I feel like Surge definitely have shown us enough, at least in their control improvements, because they couldn't win it before. Like, they were the worst control team in the game, but now they're losing series 3-1, just winning the control. And you can just tell that they've shown improvements here. Minnesota, though, on this map are sitting at 7-4. On the opposite side, Seattle are 5-8. So even though records are here, Minnesota have a little bit more favor, this has been the success story for Seattle, especially on garrison control. You already see it with some early pressure over towards this A point, able to at least get one tick of progression already into the map.
Yeah, and like we said, that initial gunfight, those early team fights, so important for the attacking side. Surge, they had a commanding effort toward that A point, and as you said, they do get the first tick under lock, but see what much more they can do is now focusing their sights over toward the B point. And Gunless in a pretty good spot. Very well could limit the ability for Røkkr off of spawn. They've got 3 hanging out toward the backside of bricks. Meanwhile, it's Priestahh who hangs out toward middle. A flurry of fights, but a majority of them favoring the way of Seattle. Priestahh, can he try to halt this progress for as long as possible? Octane wins the big 1 versus 1. And as we get so close toward the end of this A point, Attach does manage to get a toe in for a moment. Standy wins the 1 versus 1. And based off that minimap, Seattle nowhere in sights in regards toward the A objective. It's now all over at B. One team, rather the first team push, they get a tick. The second team push, they get a tick. We'll see if Seattle can make it 3, as they've got 40 seconds left to do it.
Yeah, and they have to try to eliminate this B point, but there's just too much pressure from Minnesota right now. Just eliminating these players one by one. Octane able to hit some good shots onto Priestahh, but still the contest is coming in. You see a couple from players from Minnesota just watching that cross. MajorManiak was able to pick up that kill, but now they have to hold top green control. Unfortunately, Standy's going to get some bad timing there. Prestinni's able to get one, but the trade is immediately going to be there. So now time is starting to tick. Surge have to try to get on towards this B point to extend this time by a minute.
Priestahh holding top green control. It only makes the Surge's lives that much more difficult. Fire barrel goes off. Attached still from the flank. That's going to be 3. Make it 4 down inside of the point. Surge. Now every player off of spawn. The worst time to have that 4 down come in is when it does. Minnesota Røkkr, a great round for them to take. Defense ends up going their way. And as we said, Stud, first fight goes the way of Seattle. They get the tick. Second team fight, they get a second tick, but they were just not able to harness enough to get themselves over the finish line. Now, Garrison, we often talk about the defensive team taking the round, but good plays from Røkkr to be able to lock this one up and attach. A great start for him. Sits at 7-3 after round 1.
Now it's time for Minnesota to get on the attack. How do they decide to approach this? Because trophy systems are going to be on the side of Surge, so no tacticals are going to work through the middle of the map. But some early pressure trying to go in towards B. They know that Prestinni, he's a little rat, man. It's only a matter of time before they're able to sniff him out, and they're able to catch him as he hops up through the vent with that first blood. So now time is starting to go on the progression towards B, but Gunless with some great shots from top green, able to at least take down 2 to relieve the pressure. That's going to be a nice 3 dead. Gunless still holding down top green with some great shots onto Priestahh. Going to give him a 3 screen, and this is what we were talking about with Seattle. This AR duo is so scary on the map as Octane and Gunless are finding every single kill, just holding the pressure from Minnesota in their base.
Yeah, like I said, we see spurts of it. We see at moments what explosiveness this team has and does possess. As Røkkr are actually going to be grouped up toward the vent side. MajorManiak does find the information there onto Gunless. And he may just sit pretty instead of top green. May actually go ahead and contest over at A. Does get slightly weakened there by the trophy as he and Classic go back and forth. Priestahh and Standy. The SMGs winning fights on one portion, MajorManiak on the other. And this is where panic can start to set in. Surge off of spawn. As we said, they go 4 down for a moment. And it's both B and A being captured. You see Røkkr just trying to toy with their minds a little bit, trying to get them off of spawn to go toward one side, when in reality the presence is at the other. As here comes Classic, and here comes Octane. They both get shut down from attach, continuing on with his run. Again, that B point still being captured. A now contested as well for a time. Røkkr putting up a great display, but keep in mind, they've got 22 seconds left. One break from Surge could make all the difference.
Yeah, they just need to try to find these kills, man. Attach is doing such a great job of just staying alive towards the backside of this tractor, but eventually he's going to drop. On the opposite side, Minnesota were able to secure that B point, and now they have 1 progression tick at that A point. So now they have to try to just break in through bricks. So that's why you see Priestahh slowly working around the backside and trying to set up 1 good push. They're able to at least spot Gunless. Good shots coming in from Priestahh. Easy reads from onto Gunless. Attached with the kill onto Octane. Standy's going to take down Classic. Now it's all on Prestinni. Once he's going to get eliminated, now it's all about setting up the spawn trap. And Priestahh's in a great position to do so. But eventually he's going to drop. 3 players are going to be on it. Minnesota are going to walk away with round number 2.
And that stood very well. And I want to say it is the nail in the coffin because, of course, we still have 1 more round to play. Surge very well. May bring this one back, but that's just the sequence where you look back and you can think, hey, that's where we lost it, right? Obviously, we talk about the hard point in the S&D, but specifically in the control, that attack round, just you cannot afford to allow that one to go the opposite direction. Being down 0-2, you can't continue to slip. And now, Surge have got to play perfect Call of Duty, perfect control, as they'll have to win 3 straight. And as we talked about, it's been a team affair so far for the Røkkr. 12-6 now sits attached. Priestahh at 11-8. 2 players coming into stage 5 that were talked about quite a bit in regards to their roles. Who's going to be running the flex? Who's on the dedicated SMG so far in stage 5 outside of the loss they suffer versus Toronto? That question has never been more dim, more quiet in regards to where these guys both belong. As here we go into the round. First few sequences, first few fights underway. Prestinni able to take 1 down toward top. And that is a nice gunfight to win as the Surge look to try to make map control, fully making their way up toward B.
Yeah, they have to try to extend this time, man. They have to get this B point and eventually solo focus on towards A. But Standy eventually is going to drop, and Standy was actually working towards some streaks, so that's going to be a big kill. The only thing is, Minnesota, they answer back with 2 of their own, so they're going to be able to maintain map control right now. You're going to see Gunless pushing up through the bottom middle of the map. Octane able to find a kill onto attach, but still Minnesota not giving them a lot to work with. They're able to get 2 kills, but eventually they have to try to work this progression on towards B. The first tick is eventually going to come in, and now you see Seattle starting to put the pressure on as they're fighting through the middle of the map.
Right to the middle of the map, and Octane does take a big one there onto Standy. That will allow them to grab that second tick, and if you're Røkkr, do you try to back on up? And the choice may in fact be made for them. Mid-map totally controlled from the Surge, as now they've got themselves plenty of time, 1 minute and 40 on the clock, to try and capture at that A point. We'll see what strategy appears to be up their sleeves. As we mentioned, streaks not going to be too problematic, at least for now. And close instead of bricks, Standy hanging out. MajorManiak nearly gets traded, but what great cover fire that is from Priestahh. It could have been a 2 versus 1 at the point, but Røkkr continually having each other's back. I think that's the 3rd fight so far we've seen throughout this entire series, that where somebody is on the brink of death and another Røkkr player is there to save the day.
Yeah, that's what they're doing, man. Their teamwork is there. That's going to be another 4 dead, so now that's going to allow Minnesota to put the aggression on. Unfortunately, Priestahh is going to drop, so that's going to give a little bit of an opening to the players on the Seattle side, as Prestinni does find another kill, but Attach still is able to find one. Now it's all on MajorManiak. He's in a great position to at least be a little bit annoying on the side of Minnesota. He's able to find one. Great shots onto Classic. Not able to find that kill. Eventually it's going to get traded, but so far Minnesota are doing a great job of just keeping control of the map. With 30 seconds left, Seattle only have like 1 or 2 good pushes to try to get into this point.
Yeah, that first minute has bought you nothing, but keep in mind the amount of presence that they have in the spawn. This could set up for something quite special. As you said, 3 go down, and now the storm comes into the point. Gunless watching players off of spawn, looking to try to beam them and not allow for them to get any visuals. Over at A, finally gets dropped, but have they done enough? Minnesota actually with 2 players that end up getting taken down. Prestinni falls as well. And so Minnesota, with 3 players, 4 players off of spawn, they actually could win this fight. Such a sliver left. Seattle, can they get anything going? That's going to be 2. Last player instead of top green, 20.8. The clock gets halted for a moment, but Prestinni drops Surge. They've got 1 last push. 15 seconds, and this one is done. Priestahh locking away the first P-Dog, watching one angle. It's the stand man from top green, and with 5 seconds left, can anybody from the Surge get here in time? It comes down to Prestinni, stops the clock at 3 seconds and some change. But it's Gunless now on the flank from bricks. He gets traded out from Attach. Prestinni's here, but Attach wins the fight. The 1 versus 1, that one goes Octane's way. Anybody from Seattle, can they get here in time? And the answer will be no. Minnesota, a commanding victory here to start off their home series. A 3-0 in the series and a 3-0 in this control.
Minnesota just clutched up, man. If you're Seattle, that round is going to hurt because you get a clean 4 dead. Like, the fact that you have 2 people playing for a spawn trap, that is the wrong play. There needs to be a 3 stack onto that point, so at least you're able to close out that round and force it to another round. But the fact that they had 2 people pushed up all the way in bricks, both players dropped, and now the pressure is just going to come on in as both players are coming off spawn trying to jump into top green. They find both of those kills and just eliminate the pressure from the Seattle Surge. Like, that was a choke right there. That was a mistake on the side of Seattle Surge. You cannot allow that to happen. And Minnesota, they countered it beautifully. They won their engagements and were able to close out in the 3-0. But Seattle, come on, man. Stack the damn point.
Oh, man. Like you said, I was kind of caught off guard when I was calling that stuff. I was like, okay, we got 2 players in the point. What happened to the 3rd player? What happened to Prestinni? And from there, they leave the door open. As we said, just a sliver. Maybe, what, if you have 3 players on the point, that's maybe a second, 2 seconds to work with if you're Minnesota. And as we said, Seattle, they allow for the door to be open, and Røkkr walk right on in and are able to walk away with this series. So I've been told this was a 36-minute series. Very well. Could be on pace for the fastest series that we have had all season. And there were some questions, coming into this week. Røkkr, a huge week for them in regards to, that top 6 to top 8 conversation, in regards to just this group in general for what sets them up for that stage 5 major. the big talking point has been, their control has been good. They start off well at times in series, but they're not able to deliver. Granite versus Surge, but that is a victory that you will take every single day of the week if you're not just a player for the Røkkr, but also a fan of the team too.
Yeah, you'll take that win any day, because now that puts you in a position to try to be a little bit safer in that 6th spot going into champs, because now you're up 20 points on LA Thieves, who LA Thieves still have to play Atlanta FaZe. You got to think Atlanta FaZe is going to win that, so they're going to be able to at least give themselves a comfortable cushion from that into that 6th spot. Minnesota looking really good, man. The biggest thing that I took away from this series had to be the search and destroy, because that's something that they tend to struggle with. Even though Seattle, so far, at least as of recent, haven't really seen a lot of success in the search and destroy, but on the side of Minnesota, their strategies were there. The teamwork was there, opening up with the first bloods, making sure they're rotating bomb sites, playing their numbers correctly. They even almost clutched a 2v4 situation. Don't know how Seattle let that almost happen, but Minnesota, you can just tell. Their teamwork is starting to get there, and they're gelling a little bit better in search and destroy.
Yeah, they absolutely are. A great team victory, and we'll take a look at what closed out this series for our Scuff play of the game. Stud, tell me, man, what happened in this round? What did Seattle do wrong, and what did Minnesota do right?
Yeah, so before this play even developed, they had a clean 4 dead. There were 2 players that were pushed up from Surge in towards Bricks. I can understand Gunless being there because he was able to find that kill. Eventually, he's going to try to set up some spawn traps and just keep the players on the side of Minnesota in their base a little longer. But the fact that Prestinni was able to push up into Bricks, tried to place for those trade, eventually gets taken down, and then they weren't able to close at that point, man. If Minnesota were allowed to break in that opportunity for 1 chance, that's all they needed, man. Because once they get that, they're going to be able to keep top green control. All they have to do is focus on the middle of the map, and that's just something right there with Seattle Surge. They're going to be really annoyed about that when they go back and watch the VOD. All they got to do is stack the point, and they're going to be able to force it to a round number 4. But Minnesota, they clutch up. They win a majority of those one-on-one gunfights to break back in, and then just keep control of the map, man. Just a great job from Minnesota overall.
Yeah, taking advantage of the enemy's mistakes as they Ragnarok our socks off. A nice 3-0 win here over the Seattle Surge, but they have got 2 very interesting opponents still left up on their schedule. What they've got Dallas Empire to face off on Sunday. That's going to be a wonderful one, and what very well could decide the fate of this group facing off against the Florida Mutineers. And like we said, a series that potentially could indicate who will be our top 3 seeds from this Group B.
Yeah, man, and it's scary because if you go back, I'm really looking forward to that match versus Dallas Empire, because Dallas, at least based off the major, their search and destroy was great. It beat Atlanta FaZe in a lot in that grand finals in search and destroy, except for that game 5, but that's where you're going to really be able to tell how much improvement Minnesota were able to show in search and destroy. But on the opposite side, you have the Surge now, who are already 0-2. Now, it doesn't get any easier for them because they got to go up against the second best team in the Toronto Ultra, and then they have to play Dallas Empire as well. So they have the potential to start off 0-4 because both Dallas Empire and Toronto are just a better team right now. Best chance that they have is the match versus Guerrillas, at least for me, because they should be able to walk away with that one. But if you're the Surge, this is not the response that you wanted coming off of that Major 4. You get a top 8 finish there, but back to the online we go, man. It just hasn't been working out for them since.
Yeah, as we said, we had a lot of hopes for the Seattle team after our last major, and so far online has not treated them the kindest. But the positive for them and the positive for you is that our Stage 5 major is just right around the corner. Tickets are on sale, as we said, for July 31st through August 1st. It is going to be a wonderful event. It's going to be taking place at the Esports Stadium in Arlington, Texas. I've been told the tickets are selling out fast, so you better get yours if you have not done so already. We came into this series talking about this guy, Standy. He's been taught a lot, but he taught us out of the book of Eli today. A wonderful series for this guy, as he'll be joined by Lottie after this break.
Call of Duty League is brought to you by Mountain Dew Game Fuel. Pre-order the new Courageous Sherbet flavor now on GameFuel.com while supplies last. Tournament audio and team listen-ins are powered by Astro Gaming, the official headset and mix amp of the Call of Duty League.
Hello CDL friends and fans, welcome to your Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. I am joined by Standy from Minnesota, Røkkr. First of all, man, congrats on the dub. Nice stuff, especially at your home series. Obviously you're moving forward 2-for-1 in the final stage, which is great. And you guys have had your ups and downs as a team, but I want to know from you at this moment in time, how close do you think you guys are as a team from cementing yourselves really as that top 6 team heading into champs?
I think my team is like kind of on that mark until we're like considered the top 6 or like even better. And I think it just comes down to like making sure our search and destroy is dominant, because recently as everyone's been seeing, like our hardpoint has been getting better, our control has been pretty solid. So I think it comes down to like getting our search and destroy better and staying consistent and always using teamwork. And I think that like that will propel us to like a top level team like consistently.
Love that. I'm going to be watching out for the search and the progress that you guys are going to be making. Now, obviously, you end your home series with Empire. That's a big game for you guys and a big test. You know, how happy would you be as a team, and how much progress do you think you guys would have made if you could end your home series run with the win against Empire?
I think that's an important win, because obviously like we want to secure the 6th seed. So our goal is to make sure we at least end this group with 3 wins to make sure we're like starting winners for the major. So either the win against Dallas would be really important, and I think I'd bring like some like a little bit less stress on like winning our like match versus Florida in a way. So I think it'd be really important, and I think it'd be a solid win.
I'm definitely watching out for that game, by the way. No pressure. No pressure whatsoever. Standy, before you go, I think it'd be a bit of a disjustice if I didn't let the fans get to know you a little bit more. So I'm going to have a bit of fun and ask you a few like quick fire questions just to get to know you a little better. You in?
All right. I'm down. Let's do it.
Okay. Okay. Let's do it. Okay. Who is your favorite superhero?
Superman.
Superman. I like it. And favorite team in any sport?
Washington Capitals hockey.
Okay, a hockey fan, love it. And one thing you could eat for the rest of your life. It's a big decision.
May not be the healthiest decision, but Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A is very good. Favorite movie?
That's a hard one on the spot. I can't think of one. I don't know. Maybe like the SpongeBob movie.
The SpongeBob, okay, love it. The SpongeBob movie. I would not have been able to answer that one either. And last question. Something you couldn't live without if you were stranded on an island?
My phone. Maybe some water, food.
Only one thing, Stan. You can't be greedy here. So is it the phone, is it the water, or is it the food?
I think I can live without my phone, so probably food, because if I didn't have food, I'd probably die.
I tell you what, we've learned a few things about you. One is that you're a smart man. We appreciate you so much, Standy. Thank you so much for joining us. And best of luck at the rest of your home series.
Yep, thank you, and shout out the beast, Michael Berger.
Woo. Love it. The beast, Michael Berger. Some wise words from Standy there. Definitely, Michael Berger is an absolute beast. Thank you so much, Standy, and take care, man. Well, there we go. We've spoke to Standy. We found out quite a lot about this individual. He loves Chick-fil-A. He loves Superman. He's also a hockey fan, and he probably can't live without his phone. Let's be totally honest here. Well, I'll tell you what, the night is young, and so are we, believe it or not. And we're going to be talking about everything we've seen today coming up after the break. I have Nameless on the desk in the HQ waiting for you guys. If you're a real one, we'll see you there.
Major is around the corner.
Here it comes. The Giants, the Titan.
The best player in the world.
It is going to be one hell of a tournament.
This was just absolutely insane.
This is the COD League.
One of the craziest sequences I've ever seen in my life.
Looking unbeatable.
Oh my God! What is this? They're flawless. I can't wait. This is gonna be a blast.
The honeymoon period is over.
They continue on. This is just disgusting.
It is do or die time.
Well, that is the first day done and dusted pretty much as we glance across the gorgeous home of Minnesota Røkkr, and look at that sky. What a stunning visual, and tell you what, stunning visuals all around for our Røkkr boys as well, as they do secure things here in the first day of their home series. But this is today's results presented by the US Army overall. We had two matches, Ultra versus Guerrillas. It was a good day, and 3-0, fast one for Ultra there against LAG, and also an equally fast one, 3-0 for Minnesota Røkkr against Surge. Now I'll tell you what, something very exciting to talk about is the fact that first of all, I can see very clearly, I also have blue light blockers on by Seany, which is wicked, but something even more exciting is that you guys could get your hands on any of the 12 team Zennies that are now available. That is right, you can also rep the Zennies while also repping your favorite team. They're all available at the moment. Head over to zenny.com/CDL, pick yourself up a pair, look intelligent and look cool while you're doing it. Not half bad, is it, Nameless? Not
bad
half
at
bad.
all. Might have to get myself a pair.
Do you know what? I think that's a fantastic idea. I think I haven't heard a better idea all day. And now you said at the start of today that Røkkr was the team who couldn't afford to lose the most. After how they've performed today, what are your thoughts there now? Any more confident behind this team?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to gauge. I mean, they play a Surge team that is just, they're not there, especially online. Like, this looks like a former shell of themselves, the one that we saw at the Major. It's night and day. I mean, Classic, like, poke this guy with a stick. Is he alive? He's not playing at all. Like, he went double negative on map 1, more than double negative on map 3. Like, he's really not there. And then the whole team, though, the chemistry is there. They're not able to trade. They let the other team dictate the entire map throughout start to finish map control. So it's not that impressive of a win is what I'm trying to say for Røkkr. The Search and Destroy, you know, I was a little bit impressed by that. Them able to just get it in the clean 3-0 is great, but the real test will be that Dallas Empire. If they're able to push them or take that series, then I will gain a lot of confidence in them. But this is the same Røkkr that we've seen throughout the season. They beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and then when they play the top level competition, like the Ultras, Dallases, and FaZe, they tend to fold. So yet to be known. They need that win.
I'll tell you what, mate, it's the same over here in Camp LVP2 because my confidence level is still not really changed that much. I'm quite on the fence about this Røkkr team. Like I said, I'm not, you know, underwhelmed by any means. I mean, they got their win, you know, 3-0, it was wonderful. But Seattle, just like you said, are just not really the team to be tested. It's not a huge amount to play for being 11th in our CDL points. Yeah. So I can't really read too much into that series. But Røkkr are 6th right now. LAT are only a few wins away from taking that winner's bracket spot for champ. So Røkkr play Dallas next, like you said, and if they play into that game and show that they can dance with them, then I'll have some confidence in this roster, but only then. So there's a lot to play for right now at the moment. I think a lot of wins that honestly can read into the potential future for some of our teams here. Apart from FaZe. FaZe are pretty chillin'. They're straight chillin'. They're Gucci. But I tell you what, tomorrow we have a couple of bangers coming your way if you're not tired of me saying that yet, because I love all the games here at the Call of Duty League. We have Empire versus Mutineers. We have FaZe versus LA Thieves. Which game, Nameless, are you most excited for?
It's got to be FaZe versus LA Thieves. I mean, I look at this series and it's like LA Thieves have an opportunity to show the rest of the league what they're truly made of. They're 2-0 right now. They had a big win over New York. They've looked great in Search and Destroy. John has come back, and he's been lighting it up. The guy's been taking over. So I want to see them go up against FaZe and how far they can truly push them, right? If they beat them, that would be a massive upset, and that would show that they truly are like the real deal and can win the World Championship. So that's a massive opportunity for LA Thieves. That match is a banger. You know FaZe is going to be going 110% because they could see them as a potential up-and-coming threat. It's like we need to shut them down now so we know what we're going to be getting into if we face them in a bracket format in a big tournament.
Tell you what, name a better duo. I dare you. Not only we dress the same, but our answers,
Big
spot
facts.
on. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, big facts. Honestly, for me, it's got to be the same. FaZe versus LA Thieves. It's a speed test for LA Thieves to me. Honestly, it's about how do they even approach this game. They're the most dangerous team in the league. They are definitely the most teamwork team in the league.
Sure.
It's just entirely just cohesive from the FaZe camp, and it's about how LA Thieves handle this. How do they approach it? What's their teamwork going to look like? Because it is a true test of teamwork going up against Atlanta FaZe and their vetoes. You know, how are they even going to approach it in terms of the overall look of this series? That's something I'm really going to be looking forward to when we get there. But I've got to say, it has to be that game for me also, my friend. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a look at the schedule for tomorrow. You're probably wondering what is coming your way. And I have that just for you, presented by the US Army. So starting the day off, we have Mutineers taking on Dallas
It's a good
Empire.
one too.
And that game we're looking forward to, Thieves versus FaZe. It is a good one. I'm excited to see where Mutineers kind of are at right now. And I think Dallas will be a fantastic test for these guys to see how they're doing. I'm really looking for Havoc to step up a little bit. I think he's been kind of flagging as of recent. So I'm excited to see a bit more of a well-rounded team from everybody. Everyone pulling their weight across the board there as well. But before we leave, Nameless, I think we need to discuss something rather important on this desk. And that is who wore it best, because I'm pretty sure every single member of Talent is wearing this wonderful flannel. And we have a graphic.
I need a haircut, man. Oh, goodness. Yo, but
Your lid's always looking sharp, mate. It's always looking sharp.
I think we all look pretty good, not gonna lie. You know what I will say though is like it fits Lando. Like this really looks like something he would rock. Like he looks great.
I gotta give it to Lando too, mate. Oh, 100%. In a wonderful kind of an estranged bar.
Yep.
Pulling out a guitar.
Yep.
The flannel, the purple. I think, yeah, I can see it. I really can. I can see that. That is a wonderful picture. Lando, congratulations. You won who wore it best. There is no prize, but some pride. Perfect stuff. I'll tell you what, Nameless, I will see you tomorrow, man. It has been an enjoyable day to start things off here at the Minnesota Røkkr home series. I hope to see you all here for day 2 tomorrow. It's going to be the same time, same place, super easy to remember. And we'll see you very, very shortly. Good night. See you tomorrow.
Has Toronto done enough? Have they made enough progress in terms of taking down this LAG team off of spawn? As they just continue to get dropped. They make their way inside of the point, but they just falter. They begin to get taken down. Is inside, taking down 2, sits on a heater. Mental is there for the trade. Clock stopped at 1.2 seconds. Can it go the extra minute? Mental having to go big, but once more, Cammy is there, and that will be the game, and that will be the series. Ultra, a solid win. And so Minnesota, with 3 players, 4 players off of spawn, they actually could win this fight. Such a sliver left. Seattle, can they get anything going? That's going to be 2. Last player inside of top green, 20.8. The clock gets halted for a moment, but Prestinni drops Surge. They've got one last push. 15 seconds, and this one is done. Priestahh locking away the first P-Dog, watching one angle. It's the stand man from top green, and with 5 seconds left, can anybody from the Surge get here in time? It comes down to Prestinni. Stops the clock at 3 seconds and some change. But it's Gunless now on the flank from Bricks. He gets traded out from Attach. Prestinni's here, but Attach wins the fight. The 1 versus 1. That one goes Octane's way. Anybody from Seattle, can they get here in time? And the answer will be no. Minnesota, a commanding victory here to start off their home series.